62 people were dead, more than 50,000 were driven from their homes, and it all traced back to a single killing in one village. In the late summer of 2013, the Muzaffarnagar district of Uttar Pradesh, in northern India, tore itself apart along religious lines. Why it matters: this was one of the deadliest outbreaks of Hindu-Muslim violence India had seen in years, and it showed how fast a local dispute can metastasize into mass bloodshed when a crowd, a rumor, and political speech collide. Here is what happened. The clashes pitted Hindus against Muslims across the Muzaffarnagar district. When the fighting finally stopped, 62 people were dead. 42 of them were Muslims. 20 were Hindu. And more than 50,000 people had been displaced, forced to flee their villages. The spark came on the 27th of August. Two Hindu cousins, Gaurav and Sachin Singh, killed a Muslim man in the village of Kawal. The reason is still contested. Some accounts describe a traffic altercation. Others say it began with the sexual harassment of one of the cousins' relatives. What is clear is what came next. As the two cousins tried to flee, a Muslim mob caught them and killed them both. That could have ended there. It did not. Over the following week, the violence escalated, feeding on itself. A big part of the fuel was a perception on the ground that the local police were dragging their feet, reluctant to arrest the men who had killed the cousins. Anger hardened into something organized. On the 7th of September, a Mahapanchayat, a mass community assembly, was called. It drew a staggering crowd of more than 100,000 people. And it was not only villagers. Politicians came too, from the Bharatiya Janata Party, from the Bharatiya Kisan Union, and from the Congress Party. Police later described the rhetoric at that gathering as inflammatory. The next day, widespread rioting broke out. The situation had moved beyond anything the local police could contain. The army was brought in. Soldiers tried to restore order, and they worked to evacuate Muslims out of danger, moving them to Muslim-majority villages where they might be safer. It took time. Only by the 17th of September was the curfew finally lifted from all of the riot-affected areas. Consider the setting. Muzaffarnagar sits in northwestern Uttar Pradesh, part of the Saharanpur division, and it falls inside India's national capital region, the sprawl that surrounds Delhi. Uttar Pradesh itself is the most populated state in India, home to more than 241 million people. It is the country's fourth largest state by area, and it borders 9 other states plus 1 union territory, more than any other Indian state. This was not a remote corner. It was a densely populated, politically central part of the country. What lingers is how ordinary the trigger was. A killing between neighbors, motive still disputed, one of countless local quarrels that normally never leave the village. But layered on top of it were older tensions between two communities, a belief that the law would not act fairly, and 100,000-strong assembly where the words turned sharp. Each layer raised the temperature. Together, within about 2 weeks, they turned a single death into 62 deaths and 50,000 people without homes. The forward question the riots left behind is uncomfortable and unresolved. When a local dispute carries a religious label, how much responsibility rests on the leaders and the crowds who amplify it, rather than on the two men who started it? The displaced did not all return quickly. Many stayed in relief camps for a long time, wary of going back. And the deeper fault line, the distrust between Hindu and Muslim communities in this stretch of Uttar Pradesh, did not close when the curfew lifted. It remained waiting, a reminder of how thin the line can be between a single argument in one village and an entire district in flames. That's it for this one. Watch this next: why Al-Shabaab bombed a World Cup crowd in Uganda.